So, how are mortgage lenders using database monitoring to capture purchase and cash out transactions in 2022? Obviously, everyone's experienced the increase in interest rates and the lower amount of loan applications as a result of that. We're just having fewer and fewer people come to us for refinances. The Mortgage Bankers Association just a couple of weeks ago put out a statistic that applications for a refinance had dropped 56% from February of last year. So in a 12-month period, we're down 56%. And all of us are experiencing that. What this ultimately means is a lot of people have been staying busy doing their purchase business and their refinance business, and a big portion of what they've been working on has kind of slipped away. And so people are scrambling to fill that gap. And we're seeing a lot of our clients use some of the advanced database monitoring tools to do so. So what is database monitoring? It's using database intelligence to capture opportunity out of your existing customers, prospect, leads, people you closed a loan for 7 years ago, or someone who applied for a loan but never closed that loan with you just a couple of years ago. And using the data analytics that's available to find out who's in the market or about to be in the market. And some of the advanced analytics goes quite deep, where you're able to go and maybe you closed a loan for someone 8 years ago. And that person since then has certainly refinanced or moved. You can still use the data analytics to monitor that person and find out what their current interest rate is, their equity, their debt, and find opportunity out of that list of people. So it's not about going, one-to-one and calling these people. It's about using technology to look for the opportunity based on, the current circumstances that borrower has. And, 8 years ago, you closed a loan for them. Since then, they've maybe purchased a new home or refinanced. And these analytic softwares can find out what their interest rate is, how much debt they have, what their payment behavior is, what their current equity is. And all of that boils down to some incredible analytics on taking those old, stale databases and finding opportunity and helping you and your loan originators capitalize on existing relationships and opportunities with people who are currently in the market or should be in the market. We have unprecedented levels of equity in the US today. Just really, we've never seen such a quick jump in equity. And as a result of that, people that closed 3 years ago are well within the range of being able to do cash out transactions and take advantage of that. And you kind of have an interesting marketplace because people know that their home is, appreciated. And many people are out there taking advantage of that, and they're selling their current home and they're moving up, or some of them are, downsizing because their kids have moved out of the house, but they're taking advantage of that equity to make those kinds of moves. But other people, they look over there and they're like, I've got all this equity and I could go and sell it and take advantage of it, but where would I go? And that's really the question that so many people are running into, because they're looking at house prices and they're like, well, this equity is nice, but if I sell this house and take that equity, I'm just going to have to pour it all into this next house so that I can even, upgrade. And so they're pretty much, the conversation is stopping there, at least internally for them. And as a loan originator, having the tools to be able to identify those people that are well suited for those kind of cash out transactions, and having the confidence to be able to reach out to them with that information and then really go through the numbers and help them understand the value of doing a cash out transaction, whether that's for a debt consolidation or for a remodel on your home, or putting in that pool, whatever it is. So many people have this equity, and showing them how they could utilize it is to their advantage. Even, just about everyone in the US today knows that interest rates have been going up, right? There's always this kind of, people have their, their finger on the pulse of, oh, rates are dropping. You see it in the news. It's talked about so much. Oh, rates are going up, right? So they're aware of that, but they don't always know what that means. Someone might be at a 4% interest rate because, they kind of sat around and they didn't do the refinance in the past couple of years. And when they hear that interest rates are on the rise, they might assume that there's nothing that you could do for them, and it wouldn't be worth it. And you might have some people with a 3% interest rate who are looking at it, oh, rates have gone up, I should have taken advantage of that cash out equity, and that's deciding, not to move forward. Even though, and you guys have some incredible tools where you can run those calculators and find out and really convince someone that it's still absolutely worth it to go through the process of a cash out refinance if you're able to pay off other debts that have significantly higher interest rates. You know, a credit card with a 12 or an 18 or 24% interest rate, if you've got thousands of dollars of that debt and you can consolidate that, it oftentimes makes all the sense in the world to do so, even though it means going from a 3% to a 4%. And many people view that as, and there's a whole other opportunity in the home equity line of credit realm. Now, most mortgage lenders aren't doing HELOCs. And so when a client goes out and they're thinking about doing a cash out and they decide to do a HELOC, the loan officer kind of assumes that's where that conversation ends. But the truth is, there are so many people who are in the market for taking advantage of equity, and they look at a cash out transaction, and then they look at a HELOC, and the HELOC looks easy. You know, drive-by appraisal, limited income documentation, transaction completed in 7 days. I mean, and it's a super simple process for a lot of people to go through that. And so they look at it and they opt to go that direction. Now, unfortunately, HELOCs have some disadvantages, higher interest rates being one of them, but also things like, you know, not having interest being deductible. And, you know, if that HELOC wasn't used for a significant, I believe the term is like a significant increase, improvement to the property. So there are advantages to going through a HELOC just so that you can get the process done quickly. But so many people go out and they get the HELOC, and then a few months later, they start that cash out refinance process so they can consolidate that HELOC and get it into their primary mortgage because the terms are just better. There's no argument about it that the cash out transaction is going to be better than that HELOC. But, you know, some people kind of like that instant gratification, that quick close, so they can go out and get that money. They can pay off the debt. They can start remodeling the home. They can do these other things without the complications. And besides that, I mean, HELOCs, a lot of them are using that drive-by appraisal, which sounds good on paper. The value just simply doesn't come in as high on a HELOC. An article that Quicken put out highlights that these drive-by appraisals are often less accurate, or maybe less accurate, because they don't take into account things like the improvements that you put into the interior of the property. They make assumptions based on that exterior, and it can be to a lot of people's disadvantage. And that'll leave someone who wants to take advantage of their equity having access to less of that equity than they would with a traditional cash out, where they can do that full appraisal and get the fair market value rather than kind of that abridged, short, easy appraisal system that is done with a drive-by. So that's really what we're seeing people do. They're looking for opportunity in the existing databases that they have. They're looking and trying to capture opportunity with automated systems, with automated marketing, and really supporting their teams so that they can turn their attention from what has been some amazing years and utilize the teams that they've trained, the systems and the processes that they have in place, and really all that knowledge. Because obviously when the market shifts and things change, you want to protect what you've been building. And that's where we're seeing a lot of these lenders go, is investing in effective systems with trackable results that are automated and really support their teams to succeed in a changing marketplace.